Want to make a great impression and close more deals? Do you want to know the secret of closing deals and building lasting customer relationships? Stay with me till the end of this episode if you want to know it all. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. You with Sonia on Thinking Thursdays. Grab your cups of coffee. And of course, before we start, as the ritual, if you've still not subscribed to my channel, do hit the subscribe button. And of course, you can even turn on your notification bell because every Thursday I bring new episodes for all of you. You know, in the age of AI, automation, and digital decks, human connection remains your most powerful tool in any kind of client meeting. And often it's not what you say, but how you show up, your presence, your body language, your listening skills, and your etiquette that determines the outcome. One of you have recommended that I should do an episode on business etiquette, client etiquette, and body language. So here I am bringing this episode to you. So in a world of video calls and voice notes, in-person client meetings are making a major comeback in this year. And guess what? They matter more than ever because while your LinkedIn profile might open doors, but it's your presence, your poise, and your professionalism in that meeting room that seals the deal. So whether you're walking into a boardroom or catching up with a client over a cup of coffee, your body speaks louder than your pitch. And here's how you can master both your etiquette and your body language like a pro. See, business etiquette is what? It is a set of behavior guidelines you're expected to follow in your workplace. These guidelines determine what manners and actions are appropriate at work. When you follow proper business etiquette, everyone can communicate better and can be more productive. So, without any further ado, let's dive in. See, first, for client meeting etiquette, remember that respect will build reputation for you. First thing, what you need to do is you need to arrive early and not just on time. So, forget about coming late for meetings, but you should come a little earlier. So, if your meeting is at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, try to come by 2:30 or max by 2:45 so that you get that 15-minute of break where you can freshen up, you can have a glass of water, or you can just check out what the ambience is. You can go through the agenda of the meeting and prepare yourself in a very calm, composed manner. So, no matter how old your client is, or no matter how good your existing relationship is with your client, arriving late to the meeting venue should never happen. So, always arrive a little earlier than the assigned time. This shows that you respect and value the time of your client and you take your commitments very seriously. And like I just mentioned, arriving early will give you that little buffer of time to freshen up, settle in, observe the venue where you've come for a meeting, and get comfortable in that space. And be calm and composed before the meeting gets started. So, reaching right dot on time or late, in worst cases, won't let you settle properly and is likely to affect your productivity during the meeting. See, it's very important to know your audience. A formal suit may impress in a corporate setting, but smart casual might feel more authentic in a creative or maybe startup environments. So always dress to match with the culture, but always look very polished. We are also now getting away from that conventional formal suits that were kind of mandatory part of any corporate culture. But now we are moving towards semi-formal attire, but you have to remain vigilant and careful about your dressing when you're attending a meeting. Be it with a client or within your organization or in a training room, you should always dress according to the event. Your dressing will make the first impression on the audience at the meeting venue. Coming to a sales pitch dressed very casually will definitely not settle well with the client. So, good dressing equates to good manners. If you do not dress well, this might develop a notion in their mind that you are not professional or you're not serious about the deal. And with this, what you need to do is research about your client, understand their business, What have been their recent wins? What were their recent challenges? Mention something very specific, which instantly shows that you care and you've come prepared for that meeting. See, the more organized you are, the better you'll be able to participate in the meeting. So you should be aware of the details you need to address in the meeting and what you'd say at what time. That's very, very crucial. So keep things very simple and plan well in advance. It's very crucial to stay on the topic or the agenda for a good business etiquette because it reduces the time that gets wasted on unnecessary discussions. We've seen it, right? We go for a client discussion or there is some meeting happening within the office. What was the agenda that you've forgotten because the whole discussion is just going in a very different direction, and that wastes everybody's time. You don't come to any conclusions. There is no net result of that meeting. So it's very necessary for you to stay on the topic and the agenda. So if your meeting is going a little off track, off the agenda, it's important that you bring it back on track without sounding very rude. If you notice that your meeting is drifting into a very different direction, that is not going to give you the result that you want to achieve in that meeting. And eventually, these kind of meetings don't lead anywhere. They do not benefit the client. They do not benefit you. So always do your homework and come prepared with the set agenda and ensure that the meeting is all about that agenda, because there is some approvals or there is some consensus that you want to derive from that meeting. And when you're in a meeting, like for example, I'm talking to you, right? What if I start holding my phone and I'm like going browsing things on it and I'm talking to somebody or I'm just messaging somebody? So you would not connect with me as an audience, right? When you are in a meeting, you need to keep your phone out of sight. So my phone, I've just kept it here just to show you as an example. Otherwise, my phone is always on silent, not even on a vibrate mode, because there is that sound that comes in and I don't want you all to get distracted with anything else. Just focus on what I'm talking about. So please keep your phone at a distance, out of sight. You can keep it in your bag or your purse and keep it on silent mode. Remember, attending to a call or scrolling through your screen in the middle of your meeting is highly unprofessional. Unless, it's something highly urgent and you cannot really put it off, make sure that you excuse from the client and tell them, sir, this is a call. I really can't avoid. It's really urgent. I hope you don't mind. It's just going to take a minute. So just step out of that meeting, attend to the call, come back, again apologize and thank the customer or the client for just waiting while you were attending to that call. But the best way would be to put your phone on silent so that it does not distract you or the client from the meeting. It is a small act that will convey that you are completely committed in the meeting. You are completely focused on what the meeting is all about and you're giving your undivided attention to the client. I see a lot of people when they go for client meetings, they go on talking, and they don't let the client only speak. So it's very important that you listen more and you speak a little less, because clients want to feel heard and not sold to. So ask very thoughtful questions and let them speak. It's about understanding their needs, not rushing into offering some solutions to them. So you could say something like, can you walk me through your current challenges or pain points in this area? So what you're trying to do is you're asking a question where the client will then elaborate that what are the challenges that they're facing, or what would success look like for you at the end of this project, or whatever the engagement that you're having with the client. What's working well for you right now and what's not? Who else is involved in this decision making? Have you tried anything like this before? What was your experience? Is there something specific that you have in mind, or is there some specific timeline or milestone that you're working towards? By asking these right questions, what are you doing? You're allowing yourself to learn from their past attempts, of their successes, their failures, and it'll also clarify the urgency and help you prioritize your pitch or whatever that you're discussing and what's the agenda. This will also ensure that you're aware of all the stakeholders and it'll help you align with the desired outcomes and much more. So ask the right questions and let the client speak. Don't interrupt the client when he's talking or she's talking. So in a very quick gist, what I've spoken about in a client meeting etiquette, something very basic, if you take care of these steps, you will surely be looked upon with respect, that you are a professional and you mean serious business, right? So please arrive early and not on time, and certainly not late for your meetings. Dress with intent. So know your audience and dress appropriately when you're going for a meeting. Do your homework and come prepared with the set agenda. And if the meeting is going in a very different direction, bring the meeting back, because then, you're not leading anywhere. You're like literally lost. And there is no outcome of that meeting that's ever going to happen. Keep your phone out of sight so that you can give your undivided attention to your client. And lastly, listen more than you speak. Now, coming to body language, where you say more without saying anything. See, body language makes up for a huge part of our everyday communication, especially at our workplace and certainly in client meetings. In fact, experts say that non-verbal cues make up between 70 to 90% of our communication. Now, if I'm talking to you and I'm talking with a very straight face, I'm not using my hands, I'm not making eye contact, I'm talking to you, but I'm looking down, I'm looking on the sides here and there, but I'm not looking at you, right? Even if whatever I say, you'll not understand, because I need to bring my body language to a point where, where you're communicating with me and you are listening to what I'm saying. You take me serious. You know that she means business, right? So your body language equally plays a very important role as far as your business etiquettes or your client meeting etiquettes go. See, customers subconsciously, they interpret your non-verbal cues, such as, what are your facial expressions? Are you looking bored? Are you looking very uncomfortable? Are you in a hurry? What is your body posture? Are you like literally with your shoulders in, or you're sitting straight, or you tapping the table with your fingers? So they, by all of this, how is your eye contact? Are you smiling or not? Are you nodding in the meeting or not? This is to gauge the sincerity, the empathy, and the professionalism. See, positive body language can convey that you're confident, you are trustworthy, and you're genuinely interested in meeting with the client, right? This can bring a sense of connection that you're trying to build with the customer. You'll be able to build a good rapport. On the other hand, negative body language, like avoiding eye contact, crossing your arms, or tapping on the table, moving your legs here and there, it shows that you're not interested in the meeting. It can also be misinterpreted that you don't need the deal that the client is ready to offer. You're not interested to know what the client is actually looking for, and they will not trust you. They'll not connect with you. So here are some tips coming your way now. First, when you meet the client, what do? Mostly what we do is we shake hands with the customer. Now, your right handshake can initiate a good contact with the customer. Now, your handshake should be firm, but not like you crush somebody's hand only. If you're shaking hands with the other person, your handshake should be very firm, but it should not be so hard that the other person, after shaking the hand, is literally like, that my fingers are paining. So your handshake shows that you are confident, but it should not be very dominating kind of handshake, that you should not be like literally pulling the person towards you. And it works well if it is paired with a good eye contact and a very warm smile on your face. If you're shaking hand but you're looking somewhere else, you're looking over the phone and you're saying hello, that's very bad manners. And if you're shaking hands but you're having a frown on your face, or you're lost in your thoughts, that's again not going to work. So please make sure that you're mentally present, you have a good eye contact, but it's not like you're literally glaring and staring at the other person. Have a nice eye contact with the other person and give a warm smile. Yeah. So this is going to be your first non-verbal introduction. Next is going to be your eye contact, because when you're having eye contact with the other person, it means that you are trusting the other person and the other person can trust you. When you're doing something very nasty, you do not maintain eye contact, right? When you're trying to hide something, you do not look at the other person in the eyes. So when you're having a good eye contact, it means that the other person can trust you. So maintaining steady, but not very staring, that you're not literally staring at the other person and you're making the other person uncomfortable. Maintaining a very steady eye contact, but not staring in a wrong way, will build trust and will show that you are engaged in the conversation. And on the other hand, if you keep looking away from the customer here and there and you're watching your phone or anything else, may signal that you are nervous, you're not interested, you don't mean serious business. So always have an eye contact, because it shows that you are attentive in that meeting. It shows that you're focused on what they're saying. It will also help people realize when it's their turn to speak. This way, they don't jump in and interrupt someone else when they're speaking. So, which is going to be a big non-starter for good meetings. And beyond this, will help you build a quick connection as well. Now, many meetings I've attended where, I've seen people fidgeting with their fingers. They'll keep removing their, rings in their fingers. They'll keep, looking at their bracelet, or they'll keep looking at their nails, or they'll keep tapping the table, or they'll just sit with crossed arms, which is like not good manners. So please watch your hands when you are in meeting. Now, when I'm talking to you, automatically I'm not making an effort. Wherever I need to emphasize, my hands are coming in, but they're not distracting you from what I'm talking about. So use your hands, but don't fidget, don't cross your arms, because that looks like you are not interested. This meeting is just as a formality and you don't mean business, right? Don't tap on the table now and then. Don't use a pen and keep playing with the pen in the meeting. Use open gestures when you're trying to make a point, because that makes you look approachable and that makes you look confident. A major part of your body language is also your body posture. How are you standing? How are you sitting with the client? So some of the meetings you might be having, like the client is walking and you you met the client at the elevator. So you're standing and you're chit-chatting with the client, or you're sitting in the office, you're sitting at a cafe and you're meeting the client. Mostly our body posture is all when we are standing and talking to the client, or we're sitting and talking to the client. So when you're sitting and talking to the client, please make sure that you sit upright. Your shoulders should not be like in the front. You sit upright, and whenever the client is sharing some important details of what his requirement is, you can lean in slightly, which shows that you are listening, but don't slouch. Don't come too close to the client, because then the client might be uncomfortable because you're getting into their personal space. So a grounded body posture always shows that you are confident and you are in control of the situation. Whereas if you sit at the back and you're taking it easy, that looks very bad. So don't do that. If you've got that habit, that is not recommended. That's not a good body posture. So you should sit straight. And if there is a 2-seater, 3-seater sofa and there is a sofa chair, so preferably you should take a sofa chair, because there it'll be easier for you to sit in an upright manner, because the way you sit or stand during a meeting will convey a very different meaning to the client. And lastly, try to mirror but not mimic your client. What is mirroring? Now, mirroring is the art where you are reflecting other person's energy, their tone, their pace, their body language in a way that is building rapport and that's building trust. But the key here is subtle mirroring. You're not copying the other person, but you're only matching the emotional frequency of the other person, so that you're able to create comfort and you're able to align yourself with the client. So subtly mirror the client's energy, pace, body language. It helps you create a very subconscious rapport with the client. Please keep it natural. It should not look like that you're copying the other person. The other person is picking up a pen, so you're also picking up. The other person is talking very fast, so you suddenly start talking very fast. So you will have to look at situation to situation and try to mirror the energy of the other person. Try to see in what language is he more comfortable, Is he, what kind of jargons the other person is using? So, you will figure it out. I think one or two meetings when you do with the other person, you notice what is the body language of your client. When you start mirroring the other person's, non-verbal cues, it helps you establish a very good rapport with the client. If your client is very laid back and is having a good conversation with you, so in that case, you should ease your tone. You should go very slow. You should not go very aggressive. If they're structured and they're talking to the point, then match their pace and be only to the point. Don't cook up a story and don't keep beating around the bush. People trust who are like them. If they're excited, you validate their enthusiasm. If they're connected or they're skeptical, slow down and show empathy before you start offering any solutions. See, client meeting etiquettes don't end when the meeting is ended, right? In fact, few things that you do after the meeting also makes a very big impact. Let me here again share some tips with you before we end this episode. So always follow up like a star. Send a thank you message or an email summarizing the key points that you've discussed. Mention something specific, compliment your client, and mention what are the next steps that you're going to be taking, because this is going to leave a very good impression of you on the client. Send a concise thank you email within 24 hours. So it should not be that you met the client on Friday and you take easy 1 week to send that thank you mail. No. So the moment you're out of that meeting, within 24 hours, that email should hit the client. And also you can send a nice thank you message even on their WhatsApp message if the client appreciates you communicating with them over WhatsApp. So summarize key points, look at what are the next steps, and express appreciation. So you could say something like, thank you for your time today. As discussed, we'll share the revised proposal by Friday. Let me know if there's anything else that we can clarify in the meantime. So it's a good thing. So please follow up like a star. Also ask for feedback. So if you went for a meeting, there was a colleague of yours who went for the meeting, then maybe you can ask your colleague, or you could even take feedback from the client later on that, how did you find the meeting? I hope I was able to do justice. I hope that your time was valued. I hope I was able to clarify all the points that you had in mind. So always after the meetings, you should take feedback from your colleagues, your mentors, to review how you did in that meeting, both in terms of the content and also in terms of your body language. See, growth comes from awareness. So seek clients' feedback and your team's feedback. This will really help you to improve as far as your client meetings go. And after the meeting, it's very important to reflect on the meeting, that what were the key takeaways or insights that I should capture right now while it's still fresh in the mind, right? Because when you out of the meeting, you're in a hurry, it was a 1 or 2 hour meeting, I'm tired, let me have lunch and let me do this, let me do that, tomorrow I'll make the minutes of the meeting, or what was the key takeaways. In that scenario, there are chances that you will miss out, you'll forget some things. While it is still fresh in your mind, always try to take those notes and capture what happened in that meeting. Observe what was your body posture, how were your expressions and your gestures. Were your hands in the right place? Were you sitting properly? Were you maintaining eye contact? Were you responding to the client appropriately? Did you give client enough chance to speak, or only you were talking a lot? So I think when you start analyzing this after every meeting, this will really help you go a long way. You'll be surprised how much your non-verbal communication can really improve with just a little practice. So finally, before I end this episode, see, you're not representing yourself. You're representing your brand, your company, your team. Every client meeting is a chance to leave a mark that goes beyond the numbers and the presentations. It's about building trust, creating an impact, and showing up as someone who means business, someone people would like to work with again. So clients don't just hire skills, they hire your energy, your clarity, and your connection that you establish with them. See, I've worked in real estate for almost like over 2 decades now, but otherwise I've been working close to 30 years. But real estate has been the longest tenure that I've worked in. And what I've realized is, so no matter what field you're in, so even if you're not in real estate, please remember, trust is everything. How you carry yourself matters just as much as your knowledge. So ask yourself today, am I making others feel seen and heard? Is my presence helping or hurting my pitch? What does my body language say when I walk into the room? Just remember, the meeting starts even before you've spoken your first word. And often it's your presence and not your presentation that can win you that deal. So the next time you step into that room, remember, your energy introduces you even before you speak. So make it count. On that note, we come to the end of our episode. I really hope that you found value. And if you did, you know what to do. Like, comment, and of course, share this video with all your friends and colleagues. Hit the subscribe button if you've still not subscribed to my channel. And I'm going to see you in my next video. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.